Yeah. I mean, and I think that people don't, I mean, like it's complicated to have a state logo. I think I was very lucky that we ended up on our team with a lot, several people that had deep experience in identity, like I did, because, it has to work for the justice system, the health department, the parks. I mean, you have to have something that can cross over into anything and still work, which is very unusual. I mean, that you wouldn't have that maybe for a company per se.
Yeah.
So, and then, so systematically, just the complexity of having a state brand and having it being used everywhere, is kind of an interesting challenge in itself. But Oklahoma, we're so interesting.
There's so much going on here.
And there was so much visually to draw on when you start looking at all the cultures that were here before we were a state and came after, and just there was just a lot to kind of pull from and simplify down from. Yeah. So it's really fun.
I think it's an honor. It's cool to be involved in it as much as, and typical, like when stuff dies down, right? So like the heat kind of wore off and cooled down a little bit, and now nobody probably remembers that time. And now it's just been, accepted and welcomed by everybody. And I think a lot of people were like, I think the Imagine That thing got some attention too. It's like, that's just an open-ended, imagine that.
I think we kind of knew that was
going to cause some issues.
But not
issues. But
either way, you can always take something and go either way with it. So but what in the research, the reason that came out is because what people would say when they would come to Oklahoma was just, oh wow, I'm so surprised.
Yeah.
People
still say that. They'll continue to say that for a long time. Yeah.
And it was interesting. There was a guy that came and did a presentation, I think on Nebraska, and he would, and someone, I thought I maybe asked him a question, but maybe it was someone else. But what was your first impression? Because he was talking about goat. He goes, I was so surprised. And we had just done the research, and we were all like, see. So, so imagine that came from that surprising, element. But, people don't realize, when you're coming up with taglines and slogans, we had to run 150 taglines through an international trademark search, and we had a week.
That's so much
to do it.
That's so big.
It was just a lot, when you're working on something at that scale.
Right.
But it was fascinating to do it, and it was a real honor. So
yeah.